1280 Newstalk, KIT. 8:19, let's do this thing. The morning news, our candidate forums continue. I so enjoy getting a chance to find out more about the people that want to dedicate themselves to serving the rest of us. And thank gosh there are some out there willing to do that. It's a thankless job, but somebody's got to do it. And one of them who wants to is in our studio. Her name is Sasha Bentley. And Sasha, thanks. Good to have you here.
So good to be here. Thank you.
Richard Miller in for the vacationing last Tommy. Richard, I'm not so sure it's good to have you here, but you're here now, so let's just move on, okay?
Couldn't get anybody else to take the job.
Okay, you don't have to say that out loud. Sasha, let's find out a little bit about you, who you are, what you do. If we didn't know you outside of running for office, what would we want to know about you?
All right. Well, I am a consultant for law firms, operations, administration. So I make those operations run efficiently. I want to bring those skills to government, make sure government is running efficiently. I'm also a community organizer, and so I've just done a lot of volunteering in my community to learn about the people and the issues, and I'm convinced that bringing people together is what we need to do to be able to have a bright future. And so I have those skills as well, and I want to bring those to this position. I created a card game that teaches teens and adults about democracy and the political parties and voting. That's one of my passions, is to get at the root causes of problems and just teach people about their role in democracy. We need people to be engaged for it to work. So.
Fascinating. I'm a card guy. Everybody knows that I'm a magician for years. I would love to see your game. I'm a gamester too, so that sounds great.
Nice.
And young people truly are deficit in that area, so good for you. I want to find out more about that. The whole idea about bringing people together, we'll need to touch on that in a moment, because in this polarized state and country and world, if you're able to pull that off, girl, you are doing something. All right, so let's look back at the legislature. You're deciding to run and get involved. You must have some thoughts on how they've done and what kind of grade would you give our most recent edition of governance in Washington?
So I guess my grade for the last session, would be a B.
Yeah.
I think that we got a lot done, including Voting Rights Act, pay equity, but when they did a lot of things, they also did the Public Records Act, and they moved that through quickly, exempting themselves. And I'm running. I was actually running at that time, and I was outspoken about it. Norm was still planning to run, and I'm just like, I'm running to be an open and transparent legislator. That is the opposite of what we need to do, especially in this climate where people aren't trusting government. So a good grade for getting so many good things done so quickly, but then they kind of lost a grade by doing that. So.
My bad for not clarifying. Sasha's running for 14th District position number 1, and that's the position that Norm Johnson is vacating. So open seat, and she'll run against Early, Kathy Coffey, and Chris Corey as this thing rolls ahead. 2 of you move on after August 7th. So for the record, if you're still in it, then we'll have you back for more of this. Let's talk about what you might do. You say they did some good things and got some things done, but I'm assuming there's always more to be done. What kind of programs, projects, activities would you like to work on, and what do you see the state needs that needs the Sasha touch?
Well, the efficiency would be the Sasha touch, I guess. But I'm running, first of all, to listen to the people and represent the people. So when I'm talking to people, I've come up with these 3 to 4 issues that are their priority, which means it's my priority. Mm-hmm. So education is one of them. Housing is another. Public safety is one I hear up here a lot more. We have a large, diverse district, but public safety is an issue. And, civic engagement in general, just, again, getting those people involved again.
We have notoriously poor turnout.
Yeah.
People just don't roll, and I don't know what it's going to take to do that. I think that's a statement that people are disenfranchised from their government, disappointed, and don't see that it matters for them to take action. So, how do you shake that tree?
Well, I'm doing everything I can. I mean, running is one thing because it's being that candidate that is talking to you and saying, "Hey, look at what can happen if you vote." And so that's just what I'm getting to that one-on-one personal level, and I'm asking them why aren't they voting? And we're just having those conversations that need to be had. You know, the primary election, too, is really low voter turnout. It's like 20%. Yeah. And that's when we have the most choice. We have 4 candidates, not 2. And it's a top 2 primary. So it's not based on political party. It's just the 2 people who get the most amount of votes. So this election especially is low voter turnout. But I think, you know, we're doing everything we can to raise that a bit.
Well, everything happens in the fourth quarter, all the important stuff. You know, that's why people wait. With respect, speaking of working together and having a meeting of the minds, and it sounds like that's a strong theme in your candidacy. Let's take the McCleary decision. Was not without controversy. Lots of kinds, still is, except that it's been settled. It's been settled by the Supreme Court, and the legislature has acted, even though they don't necessarily agree on how we go about doing this. They've acted to find the money to fund this thing. So, do you think that was a good decision? Do you think that spending more money is what gets us better educated kids?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Our teachers, our educators, for one thing, aren't paid very much. And so to raise that level of pay will bring more teachers, especially to our rural areas. And we have to remember that this money that's going to education comes back to us. Money that goes to education is an investment, and that comes back to us tenfold. That means we're saving money on homelessness, crime, things later in life that the kid won't have because they were educated from a young age, and they
still an argument. You can either pay up front or pay more in the end, right?
And you know, okay, that makes sense. So let's just suspend that for a moment, or let's just agree that be the case. Now we are obligated to spend money for McCleary, to comply with McCleary, and we've got another big issue: mental health, which when people run for office, its way into other issues that you've talked about before in other interviews you've done, gun violence, for instance, okay, and homelessness. So we've got this big financial commitment over here, and now there's this other potential big financial commitment looming in addition to some other things. Where do we find the money? I mean, we can all, maybe we agree that, yes, we need to tackle this, and with mental health, early intervention is important, and keeping things in the community is important, but you still have to pay for it. So where do you get the money?
So just to bring it back to the efficiency part, I would love to look at any areas that we can cut spending. Maybe there's some wasteful spending in there. We can save some money.
How about $1.2 million on stamps on ballots? Would that be a place to save money? Or are you in favor of that?
I don't know.
Are you in favor of doing that?
I am in favor of that, but I also would like the state to pay for it, not the counties. I'm not for unfunded mandates for that we say, okay, you county have to do this, but then there are poor counties, or there are counties that just can't afford it. So I'd love to stop that.
But
you're going to say it's all our money anyway,
yeah, I was
right?
going to say, though, that's still our money, right, Sasha?
Right,
It's a state money.
Yes.
And so when you say this, I'd rather have the state pay for it. Well, whether the state pays for it, the city pays for it, the county pays for it, it's still our money.
Right, but the state has a much larger tax base, and the county and cities have much smaller tax bases, and so they can't raise that money that they need.
We get you. We know. He's just playing this. That's all my money, and don't call it by a different name and think it didn't come out of my wallet.
Yeah.
However, so through efficiencies for one, right?
Yeah, that's one. Another is I just think we need to stop relying on property taxes and sales taxes to fulfill our revenue needs. Education isn't the only revenue need we have. We have law enforcement, we have firefighters. I mean, right now there's fires happening everywhere. So we need to be prepared for these even increased revenue needs that happen. And when we have more revenue than we planned for, like we did last year, we should use it well. And so one thing that they did was lower property taxes a little. So you know, I'd love to keep looking at how to keep reducing property taxes and make our tax system more fair.
Gotcha. In terms of the district, I guess it has been a Republican district now for a couple of decades. And it's, there is a sort of a pushback against Puget Sound sort of sensibilities that are often Democrat in nature, and that's the flag you fly. How do you overcome that working in this district?
I think regardless of the policy, we have to make sure that wherever it's being made will work for us where we are and where we live. So I just think just having that extra energy and that extra eye on things to make sure that policies we're creating in Olympia do work here. And if they don't, then we need to, have some exceptions or just make it work here.
Right.
So.
All right. Richard, last question, and then we'll push
the elevator question.
Yes.
If you were unfortunate enough to be stuck in an elevator with Dave and I, and you had, a handful of floors to make your argument because we were all going up to vote at the same time.
There you go. Going to convince us at the last moment
What do
to
you
vote
tell
for
us?
you.
I tell you, I'm the only candidate that's going to listen to you. I'm the only candidate that's going to work for you and literally full-time, overtime. No other candidate is going to do that. And also, I'm all about bringing people together. I'm all about civic engagement. So that is telling you that if you vote for me, next week we can get together, not just you, a group of people. When I'm in session, we're going to be in communication. When I come back and I tell you what all I did, we're going to have a conversation about it. You're going to have ample opportunity to communicate. So I'm going to be the most communicative and engaged representative that we've had here. Wow.
And if we get stuck in that elevator, would you have a copy of your card game in your purse that we could pass the time playing political, civic engagement while we're waiting for the elevator to get fixed? Can
Yes.
we do that?
From now on, I'm going to keep a
what
game
am I
with
gonna
me
do?
at all times.
I think you should. What?
What am I going to do? You sit in the elevator. We're going to be in the elevator. You two are playing cards, and I'm
Yes,
standing
you will
there.
three-handed. You have to play three-handed.
Join a team.
Okay.
Join a team.
Get on a
It's-
team.
It's a
I'll be
two-player
in-
game. There's Republicans and Democrat decks, so you can choose which
There you go.
which team to be on.
Okay.
You could be the. I could be the. You could be the Joker. How about that?
Sure.
Every good deck needs one of those. Sasha Bentley, thank you for your time this morning. I know that people might be getting used to seeing your face because you're making so many trips up into the valley and talking to voters and all of that. So it's going to take that energy you were talking about. A couple of weeks till the primary. And again, if you come through that, we'll love to have you back and hear your take on things, maybe a little more detail. But appreciate the time this morning. We wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Find some shade and some ice cold Yakima Valley water along the way. Say hello to all of our friends down in the other neck of the woods, and best of good luck.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed today.
We appreciate it. It's the morning news, News Talk 1280 KIT.